In this video, you'll learn the essential vocabulary you need in 4 different situations: at the airport, at the grocery store, at the house, and in the kitchen. These are the words that native speakers use every day. Listen, repeat, and see how many you already know. Enjoy! Today, I want to talk about grocery stores and supermarkets. How to use essential words when going to the grocery store. Some essential phrases, questions, and vocabulary, all in a slow, comprehensible way. I love grocery stores. I love grocery stores like Walmart, Costco, Sam's, and Target. Those are my favorite stores to get groceries at. I like those stores the most because I love trying samples of different food in the store. And in those grocery stores, they always have free samples with no cost. Free. I also love these stores because the aisles are so wide. Not narrow, but the aisles are wide. At some stores like Bodega, Soriana, the aisles are too narrow. That's why I prefer places like Walmart with wide aisles. My favorite aisle is the detergent aisle. It smells so good. It smells so fresh and clean. As a customer at Walmart, I always feel comfortable. The temperature is usually very cool, and the shopping carts stroll really smooth down the aisles. I like to stroll around on them sometimes. Sometimes I like to skate on them or lean on them. What's your favorite grocery store to visit, and why? What makes a grocery store feel comfy for you? The smells, the shopping carts, the people. When I'm ready to check out all of my groceries, I normally try to go to self-checkout. The lines, the queue is usually shorter than regular checkout. So, self-checkout is a lot faster, and I always prefer to get my fresh produce like vegetables and fruits at the local market. I prefer going to the local market for food that's fresh produce. I usually need a whole bunch of bananas. I eat one banana every day. So I need at least 5 bananas for my week. 1 kilo of bananas is usually enough for me. It's usually a whole bunch of bananas. How many kilos of bananas do you normally buy per week from Sunday to Saturday? How many do you buy? I don't like going to big chain supermarkets to buy fresh produce. However, when it comes to meat like beef, chicken, pork, or fish, I prefer to go to a big chain supermarket. I get nervous buying at outdoor markets. The meat sometimes sits in the sun all day. The same with dairy products. I prefer to go to a big chain supermarket for my dairy products. And I really like walking down the aisle at places like Walmart or Soriana to buy my dairy products. I just love dairy products. Cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, ice cream. I love it all. But I am lactose intolerant, so dairy products make me feel very sick. But I don't care. I get sick and I don't care. I love dairy products. Now, when it comes to dairy products like eggs, I don't really like eggs. I can never buy a dozen eggs. A dozen is 12 eggs. It's too much for me. If I'm with my family though, we will get a dozen eggs. Can you finish a dozen eggs all by yourself? Now, when it comes to buying pastries or bread, I always go to the local bakery. Bakeries, in my opinion, are the only way to buy bread. Bread has to be made with love. My friend once told me that bread doesn't go to your stomach, bread goes to your heart. And you can taste the love put into bread, I think. And the freshly homemade flavor is incomparable. What do you think? What's your favorite food aisle? The dairy aisle, drinks, snacks, canned goods, condiments like ketchup, mayo, mustard. The prices at each grocery store make a big difference when you're buying in bulk. Lots of people prefer to buy things that will last a long time. And places like Walmart or Costco are usually more expensive than places like Aurrera or Soriana, less international big chain stores. They usually have more sales and discounts. I like buying expensive things for cheap prices. When I go to the checkout to pay for my groceries, I normally use my credit card because I never have coins or change or even bills with me. So, in conclusion, even though the big chain supermarkets are more convenient because of the shopping carts, the credit card payments, and the big aisles, I still always prefer going to local supermarkets to support the community. What do you prefer? Big chain grocery stores or local supermarkets? Now for a little challenge question. Tell me, what is the difference between a bag, a box, a can, a jar, a bottle, a carton, and a package? Tell me one thing you can find in each packaging. For example, I can find milk or juice in a carton. I can find jelly or olives in a jar. Also, remember to use some useful phrases at the supermarket or grocery store. If you're looking for something and you can't find it, you could say, "Where can I find the milk?" "I'm looking for the milk. Do you have any milk?" Or to ask the price of something, you can say, "How much does this cost?" How much does this cost? And when making a card payment, you can ask, "Can I pay by card or can I pay with cash?" It depends if you're using cash or card. They might ask you, paper or plastic? Or would you like a receipt? I hope these phrases helped you, and I hope you remember some of these in the future when you go grocery shopping. I am just coming back from the grocery store. Today has been a super busy day. I am renting a new apartment and it needs to be furnished with all of the essentials it needs that we don't even think about. So I did some grocery shopping with the essentials that my kitchen needs first. I moved in this morning and my room is almost finished. I already bought a mattress, a chair, and a desk for my room. The most important parts done. But then I realized I can't eat or cook anything, I need to go to the store again and buy some kitchen essentials. I don't have a car, and even if I did, I don't know how to drive. I know everybody is so shocked when I tell them I can't drive. But in Mexico, I just never found it very necessary. There's public transportation to get anywhere, and it's much cheaper and much faster. Here's my receipt. I spent 614 Mexican pesos on all of this. So I had to walk to Bodega Aurrera. It's a grocery store in Mexico. I have my tote bag. Since I walked, I could only fill one tote bag of groceries and essentials. I got one bowl. Very important. I bought a kitchen towel. I'm going to need this to dry the dishes, dry my hands, wipe the table, to dry my dishes on, since I don't have a dish rack yet. I got a bowl, of course. I love wooden bowls. No microplastics. Then a glass black bowl. I love black dishes. And to match, a black mug for my smoothies because I don't drink coffee. A pan, which I think will come in handy when I want to cook rice or pasta or soup. Anything can really be cooked in this pan. It's wide enough and deep enough. Wide and deep. To come in handy is an expression we use when we mean something will be useful to us in the future. I got dish soap. I almost forgot about this one. It's so important, but I feel like you don't really think about it. You think about your couch, your fridge, your bed, your desk, your TV, your dishes. But you don't think about your broom, your sponge, your dish soap, your trash can. They're super important, but we seem to forget about them because I think they're a little bit boring, but nevertheless, very important. Definitely a kitchen essential. Of course, I couldn't forget my sponge and a potato peeler. We call this a potato peeler because it peels potatoes. You can also peel carrots or apples. Let me know in the comments, what else can you peel? I also bought a knife and I bought a broom. As I was walking home, I realized I forgot to buy a dustpan. Also, something that you easily forget because it's a little bit boring. I also got a strainer. This is super important for me because I drink kefir every day. This is kefir. Do you know what kefir is? Let me know in the comments. I bought chopsticks. These are all from my trip to Thailand. In Thailand, I bought so many wooden utensils, wooden spoons, wooden little spoons. I don't know what these are for, but they were cute. Wooden forks and more wooden spoons. I also brought along my coconut oil to cook with. And in my cupboards, I keep a glass of honey. I love honey. Now, some unrelated things I bought today, some hangers. That's also something I think you don't realize you need until you're in a new apartment. What is one thing that you always forget about? You're at the grocery store shopping for essentials and you head home and then you realize, oh, I forgot again. And what's your favorite thing to buy at the grocery store? Now, let me show you a little bit of what I did today. Some things I already bought for my apartment. Please excuse the mess. I already bought a mattress for my room. I also bought some toothpaste, some hand soap, a new toothbrush, and a 30-pack of toilet paper. I forgot while I was editing my video to mention I also got one more kitchen essential. A blender. Very important for me. I need my smoothies every morning. Kefirs, milk, bananas, milk, kefir, and honey. Also, I forgot to mention I bought detergent to wash my clothes. Now, I think those are all the essentials I bought today. But stick around for more videos to come about essentials in your house. This is my first time living alone. So I'm going to be buying lots of essentials that I never had to buy before. Hello? Let's learn some house essentials. I am in my new apartment and I need to furnish it. So join me in this slow English podcast. I hope you learn some new vocabulary today. In my last video, I showed you guys what I had bought so far. But now I've bought even more. So let's learn some house essentials in English. I bought a couch. I love this couch. It's so comfy. A comfy couch is very important for a home. I love the color, and I think it really ties the room together. When something ties the room together, it means it really synchronizes with everything in the room and makes it special. What do you think of my new couch? Is it your style or maybe not so much? I got a plant, of course. Plants are the most important part of a home. And I want to fill this place up with plants completely. Plants bring abundance, prosperity, and money. It's a good idea to have plants in your home if you don't already. I got a mirror, of course. I love how mirrors look in a space like this. I just have to be very careful. My dad says that mirror can cause a fire, supposedly. I don't know, but I love how that mirror looks right there. I don't want to move it away from the sun because it looks so good right there. But my dad says the sun reflecting off of the mirror can cause a fire. I don't know. I love how it looks right there. I don't want to move it someplace else. I also have my yoga mat, of course. I hide it behind the mirror just to keep things looking tidy. Tidy and clean, with everything in its place. I also got another plant, actually. This plant is a Brazil tree, a Brazilian tree, I think. I'll explain the sticky notes in a minute. Don't worry. I love Brazil trees. I've always had a Brazil tree in my room, and they're so pretty. The air feels so much cleaner, and they don't need any sun, and they barely need water, only once a week. I even keep a compost to water my two plants with the nutrients from my compost. Do you have any plants? Do you keep a compost for your plants? I got some throw blankets. Throw blankets are smaller than the average blanket. This is what a normal blanket looks like. And this is what a throw blanket looks like. See, they're much smaller. You just use them to throw on when you're watching a movie or just working, I guess. I got these side tables to keep some junk in, like my jump rope or my exercise bands. I just like these so I can set my cup on them while I'm watching a movie. Now, one of my favorite parts, the projector. Ah, this projector looks so nice at night. It's such a big screen. If you're deciding between buying a TV or considering buying a projector, I have your answer. Get the projector. I love mine. I have been watching Game of Thrones on this every night. I just started watching this series. It's so good. I'm obsessed. I have been watching Game of Thrones. What have you been watching? Remember, we use have been when something started in the past but continues in the present. I have this little whiteboard that I write down little things that I have to do. It's my to-do list. Ignore all of this mess of boxes and Ethernet cables and my pile of books left in the corner. There's still a lot of work to be done. But now, moving on to the kitchen, I bought 2 swivel chairs. Swivel chairs because they swivel from side to side. They are perfect for us to eat at our little kitchen bar. Also, excuse the broom. I was sweeping and I just left the entire mess in the corner. But speaking of brooms, I bought a mop. I can finally mop. And of course, I also had to get a bucket. Now, the most important part, the refrigerator. Finally, I was eating tuna every day, but finally we got the refrigerator. It was so stressful, actually, because we ordered the refrigerator, it arrived, and it was installed. We waited 24 hours and then we turned it on. We plugged in the refrigerator and it didn't work. It wouldn't get cold. So all of our food went bad. The fruit and vegetables and milk and yogurt all went bad. So we had to call the repairman And he came and fixed our refrigerator. We had to pay more, of course, but nevertheless, we have a fridge. Something else that's very important, the tuppers, the Tupperware. Big tuppers, small tuppers, and medium-sized tuppers. Some more spices, sauces, and cooking oil. A knife holder, more plates, more mugs, more spoons, more forks, some butter knives for spreading butter, a whisk, a cutting board, dirty from my berries, a cheese grater, and a lime squeezer. Some little things like paper towels, trash bags, a coffee machine. Even though I don't drink coffee, my roommate does. I also got a brand new rug. I think it ties in with the room perfectly. That's my new ring light. I got a toothbrush holder and a bath towel. And I got some new things for my videos. My mom bought me these bee lights for Miss Honey, a new tripod with a ring light, and a pillow to be more comfortable recording. I also had to get these earplugs because it's so noisy outside. I couldn't sleep without them. This is my desk filled with lots of junk. My lotion. This thing is amazing. Do you know what this is? Some sticky notes, my portable charger, my nail clippers, a humidifier, a mug with some coffee, my glasses, my computer, and the mouse. And now, let me explain all of these sticky notes. This one's a little bit smudged. I got a tip from a new friend of mine. She's Chinese, and when she learned English, she said that she used to put sticky notes with the names in English on every object in her house. That way, she learned the name of everything around her in English first. Not unnecessary English words that you never use, therefore, you forget eventually. With the sticky notes, you see them all day. Your brain is always thinking in English because of those sticky notes. So I'm doing the same with Chinese. I followed my friend's advice and I wrote down every word from around my house onto a sticky note, and I stuck them onto each object. My computer, 电脑, my table, 桌子, my plant, 植物, and even on my kitchen chair. 椅子. That's been a super useful tip. I recommend you try it too. These were the essentials I bought for my home so far. I still have a few things to get, but my apartment isn't fully furnished yet. What is an essential in your home? What's the most important thing in your house? Mine is the couch. It makes any space feel like a home. And it lets me and my family, me and my friends sit down and laugh together. We are going to take a flight. Join us. The automatic doors slide open, and right away you see the FIDS board, the Flight Information Display System, where you can see your flight status, whether it's on time, delayed, or canceled. Then we found our check-in counter. We were flying with Air Asia, so we had to find the Air Asia check-in counter. I am in line to check in. Some people prefer the self-check-in kiosk, but I don't like this self-check-in system as much. Sometimes it makes me nervous. I prefer to check in at a counter with a real person. What about you? Do you prefer the check-in counter or the self-check-in kiosk? I am taking the escalator, the electric stairs. You can also take the elevator, but only if you need it. Maybe if you have big luggage or you're in a wheelchair, but it's exclusive for people who need the elevator. I'm okay with taking the escalator, the electric stairs. We got some lunch before our flight. We were close to international arrivals, but we had to get to international departures because we were departing, not arriving. I got my passport ready and my ticket, and we passed through the security checkpoint where you have to take out anything metal like keys, bracelets, coins or change, your computer or laptop, your phone, your headphones, and sometimes even your shoes. The queue or line was very long, but once we got through security, we were in. I always love the duty-free stores. They're super expensive, but I like looking through each store while I wait. We walk past Cartier and Starbucks, as we make our way to our gate. By following the signs with gate number instructions on them. It was super useful that they put how long of a walk each gate was at. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute. That way, you're not super rushed or in a hurry to get to your gate when you still have lots of time to get there. When it's only a 5-minute walk. And you also know if you need to hurry, if you need to rush to your gate. I usually eat something while I wait at my gate. I wait at my boarding gate. It can be long sometimes, so I usually get some dessert. This one was a sweet bean dessert in Thailand. It was so sweet. I loved it. I'm curious. Have you ever tried one of these little sweet treats? What do you think of them? Before boarding, I always go to the bathroom. I make sure I have my 2 bags, and then we get on the airport shuttle bus. This shuttle drives us to the airplane. Sometimes we take a shuttle to a plane, and sometimes you just go straight through and board the plane. I prefer going straight to the plane, but sometimes you have to take a shuttle. The shuttle took all of the passengers to the plane, and then we waited in line to board. We had to climb stairs to board our plane. We walked through the aisle of the plane, and we put our luggage in the overhead bin right above our seats. Here, I am sitting in the aisle seat because I'm right next to the aisle. This is my personal favorite seat because I can get up and go to the bathroom however many times I need. And I use the bathroom a lot. I love a plane with screens to watch movies on. This plane was super empty, so I got a window seat. The aisle seat and the middle seat were both empty, so I chose the window seat. And then we are ready to take off. The plane drives on the runway for a little while, and once it gains enough speed, we take off. And then I'm ready to put on my sleep mask and take a long nap. The best way to spend a flight is sleeping through it. On long flights, they normally give you a pillow and a blanket. And you get to watch movies on the flight. On long flights, I always bring my neck pillow. And I like watching the screen to see how far we have traveled. I also like just looking at the world and learning about different countries that I've never heard of before. During my flights, I like to work on my computer. And during longer flights, I love how they tint out the windows so that even if it's sunny outside, it will seem like it's nighttime. It makes the sun look very pretty. Then the sun rises, and I think it's almost time to land. Finally, I wait my turn to get off the plane. I get my bags down from the overhead bin, and we walk out. There is normally an escalator to get to immigration or passport control. You scan your passport and maybe talk to some immigration officer, and then you're there in the country you want to be in. But if you have a layover, you normally still have to go through passport control, depending on the country. But you just don't leave the airport. You stay. When I have layovers, I usually stop by the food court where I can find pizza, Mexican food, Chinese food, or McDonald's. This time I got an orange smoothie and a croissant sandwich. I eat during my layovers. Then I make my way to my gate again. Now, this gate is to get me to my final destination, not just my layover. I saw these super cool suitcases. You can drive and sit down on them. That way, you don't need to walk. Now, sometimes your next gate is at a different terminal. Maybe you're at Terminal 1 and your next flight leaves at Terminal 4. Maybe Terminal A and you need to get to Terminal F, depending on the airport. So, you need to take the airport train or airport shuttle. So, you look at the signs and you follow them to the airport shuttle. And that takes you to your next terminal. This flight left from Terminal 4. So I took the shuttle from Terminal 1 to Terminal 4. I love walking on the moving walkway or the moving sidewalks. I feel like I'm flying. Here, I looked so tired. I barely got any sleep. So, I ordered a juice and I edited for a little while. Then, it's time to wait at your gate. You don't want to wait somewhere else because you might miss your flight. Finally, you land at your final destination, whether that's home or a place you want to travel, or the home of someone you love. But if you checked a bag, then you need to go get your bag at the luggage carousel. You check your gate and your flight to make sure it's the same as yours, and you wait until you see your luggage pass by. I don't know about you, but I love my airport outfits. They are super cozy. Here's one: a baggy shirt, my high bun, and some very loose pants. Now, here's a little story time of when I lost my passport in Beijing. Have you ever lost your passport? I am at the airport. This is my airport outfit. What do you wear to the airport? I feel so comfy, like I'm wearing a blanket. I have two big backpacks. One is a carry on, and the other one is a personal item. I am at the Beijing airport, but I'm not staying here. Beijing is just my layover to go to Bangkok, Thailand. My final destination is Bangkok, Thailand. But don't worry, I will be back to Beijing in 1 week to visit the city. My flight from Tijuana to Beijing was 12 hours long. I'm super jet lagged, and I still have another 4 hours. And actually, I was so stressed out about getting Wi Fi to work on my videos, editing, and answering emails that I forgot my passport. I left it on the table and I walked away searching for Wi Fi. I realized I lost my passport and I ran desperately looking and asking everyone, but nobody speaks English. So I was super stressed just a minute ago. Now I'm a lot more relaxed. I don't have Wi Fi, but now I know it could be much worse. Sometimes life just teaches you lessons that you need at that moment to really appreciate what you do have and not stress about little things like Wi Fi. Have you ever lost your passport before? All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned some new English vocabulary, and I hope this helps you in the future. If you're ever traveling anywhere and you need to find your passport or your gate number, or your terminal. If you're feeling nervous about traveling somewhere and not knowing what to do, use this video to guide you through that unknown vocabulary at airports. Have a beautiful day and don't stop learning. See you next time. Bye. If you liked this compilation of English essentials, then like this video and tell me what your favorite video was in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and remember, never stop learning. Bye.